everybody, and welcome to LOL News, your one-stop shop for everything related to the best damn fantasy football league on planet Earth and beyond. I'm your host, Chance Bixby, and beside me is none other than Preston. I play a doctor on TV for real, but not so much Howerton. Well, Dr. Howerton, we have quite the show for everyone here today. Why don't you go ahead and tell the viewers just a little bit about what we have in store for this episode of LOL News.
Thank you, Chance. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a jam-packed show in store for you here today. We will find out once and for all whether Al and Ben are actually brothers or lovers, and if so, does that negate them from competing in the league due to possible collusion? We also take a look back in history at last year's League of Loser Championship and find out once and for all who the real league loser was, aka the Jackass. Also, coming up in a new episode of Where Are They Now, featuring Kent Tullis. For the past couple months now, it seems that nobody can figure out exactly where he went. So we will connect with our on-the-spot correspondent, Luigi Nolan, find out just what in the heck he's been up to and why he never responds to anyone's phone calls or text. What else do we have in store today, Chance?
Well, Dr. Howard, by popular demand, we'll be bringing back one of our most controversial segments of the program, What's Behind the Name, to find out exactly why players name themselves the way they do. We'll be speaking with teams such as Team Oil Me Up, Raging Rajon, Brown Dockers, BP Sweaty Nuts, and then finally to my co-host here, Team Grab 'em by the. It'll be an interesting take on a controversial topic that I'm sure will make some people very uneasy, looking very forward to that. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we always want to take the opportunity to take a look back in history at last year's League of Losers epic season and to find out just how everyone fared against the competition. And I can tell you, Dr. Harden, competition did not fare too well this past year, did they?
Oh no, indeed not, Chance. In fact, this particular season could be coined the season of losers and go down in history books as the worst overall season ever put on record. To start, let's just take a look at the overall stats from last year's performances. Well, it looks to me like Brown Dockers was on a tear with that 11-2 record going into the postseason. And besides a couple of mediocre highlights, it seems to me the entire league fared pretty poorly throughout the entire championship series. What are your thoughts on how the season broke down, Chance?
Well, Dr. Howard, no truer words have ever been spoken. You know, if you take a glance at these final standings, you can see that outside of the top three, the rest of the field was pretty pitiful at best. But let's be honest, if you really knew how to play the game of fantasy football, you really wouldn't have played in this league anyway, am I right?
Yeah.
Speaking of losers, we would be pretty remiss if we didn't mention the last place loser in the league this season, of whom I believe is named Al Sporting VD Van Dam Dwayne. You know, Dr. Howard, this provides us, the commissioners and the host of the show, an opportunity to ridicule, tease, demoralize, and otherwise kind of just be dicks in this next segment we call You Are the Biggest Loser. So to help us out with this next segment, we've reached out to our good friend and fan of the show, John Cleese. We asked John if he could, in his own words, tell us what it takes to be a real loser and why some people are just more stupid than others, and if there's any science behind that madness. And without further ado, let's bring in John for his insightfulness into Al Sporting VD Van Dam Dwayne's mindset this season.
If you're very, very stupid, how can you possibly realize that you're very, very stupid? You'd have to be relatively intelligent to realize how stupid you are. There's a wonderful bit of research by a guy called David Dunning at Cornell, who's a friend of mine, I'm proud to say, who's pointed out that in order to know how good you are at something requires exactly the same skills as it does to be good at that thing in the first place, which means, and this is terribly funny, that if you're absolutely no good at something at all, then you lack exactly the skills that you need to know that you're absolutely no good at it. And this explains not just Hollywood, but almost the entirety of Fox News.
Wow, pretty riveting stuff, Chance. And I do have to agree with Mr. Cleese in this case. And as a medical practitioner, I can tell you everything he said was pretty much on point and accurate. Well, we do wish Al very best of luck in this upcoming season and hope he fares a bit better than his dismal 3-10 record, which, by the way, was the worst ever recorded record in league franchise history. Ouch, Chance.
Ouch indeed. Up next, in our Where Are They Now segment, we take a look to see if anyone on Earth can locate fellow friend and league veteran Tullis. As we know, Kent Tullis floored through the competition in last year's championship season, only to be shut out by the dismal, pathetic week 5-8 team of my co-host here, Dr. Howard. Did that incredible breakdown shame Kent into hiding? Or did he drink himself into a stupor of incoherent and irrational behavior, landing him in a strip club only to be demoralized by a large-breasted, unattractive stripper who uses permanent marker to stake her claim all over his naked body? Who knows? I don't know, but we're about to find out here in this next segment of Where Are They Now?
Our journey to find Mr. Tullis has taken us far and wide, from the bowels of Kansas City all the way to the pit of hell we call Wichita, Kansas. It is believed that Mr. Tullis is somewhere located in the Wichita area, more than likely over-inebriated, disheveled, and unshaven, and without a bath for many, many days. We have had our on-site correspondent, Luigi Nolan, scouring all of the low-life pool halls and shady bars of Wichita to see if there are any signs of Mr. Tullis. Oh wait, what's that? This just in, Chance. It seems that our local affiliate correspondent, Eileen Dover, over at KY3 News in Wichita, has an update on the latest development in the search for Mr. Tullis. Let's head over there now for this League of Losers breaking news story.
Some scary moments for customers at a Kansas Home Depot. Police responded to reports of a bomb threat at the store in Wichita. A customer alerted employees. A man inside the bathroom said there was a bomb in the building. Police were able to locate the man responsible for those comments, and that man told police he warned other guests to leave the restroom because he was, quote, fixing to blow it up, but had no intention of causing a panic. Man also told police others in the room laughed, understanding his joke, which I'm just now getting. Home Depot says they will not be pressing charges. But I can tell you right now, you asked the producer for me to read that, didn't you? To Ethan now, please.
No.
Are we going to have to go to a commercial?
No, we're going to get it.
Well, Dr. Howard, it seems we have our first clue as to where Tullis might be. An awkward, confusing, yet revealing picture of a phone number and a man who seems to be reaching out in desperation for help. Help with his life, help in coping with retirement, or help with managing his fantasy football lineup. Nobody knows at the moment. We will for sure be keeping an eye out and keeping you, our viewers, posted on any new details that may emerge. Dr. Howard?
Thanks, Chance. We now move on to what is possibly one of our most controversial segments of the program, What's With the Name, where we confront fantasy owners on how and why they chose the names they do to represent their teams. From Team Awesome to Team My Balls Was Hot, we want to hear directly from the owners on why they chose that particular team name, what is the origin of that name, and why it is personal to them. First up, we have Team Raging Rajan, where we delve deep into the mindset of a player so fixated on a singular team and doing whatever it takes to choose that team's quarterback in the first round of every single draft she has ever entered. We want to find out if that is still her strategy for this upcoming year and why, as it never seems to pan out for her in the end. Off to you, Luigi.
Well, hello, Mrs. Rajan. Thank you very much for taking the time to sit with us here at LOL News. We have a couple questions for you from the listeners, if that would be okay. First question comes from our very own BP Sweaty Nuts. Sweaty would like to know if it's true that you ask your husband for fantasy advice every year during the draft.
No.
Is it also true that you get your draft only Green Bay players because you lack any original thought regarding the other 31 football teams and because you just like the color green?
No.
Next question from our overseas affiliate, One Hung Low asks, when you won the championship in 2017, is it true that you made your husband sleep in the living room simply so you could sleep with the trophy, and that you stated that you thought the trophy made you feel more secure than your husband?
No.
Oh, okay. Rolling with my homies wants to know if you'll be drafting Brett Favre this year.
No.
Donald Driver.
No.
Greg Jennings.
No.
Sterling Sharp.
No.
How about Brett Favre?
Still no.
All right. Angry Pirates would like to know if it's true that you have an unhealthy fixation for the commissioner that is not your husband, known as Team Awesome. Really? Okay, and finally, we would all like to know why you chose the name you did, Raging Rajan, and what were the origins of that name, and what does it mean to you?
Oh, well, there's a good question. So, unlike Preston Howerton, who only plays a doctor on TV, I'm actually a real doctor. So, there's this medical term called a raging. This happens when a man is overly excited about something visually or stimulated by the environment. So, I named my team Raging Rajan because I'm overly stimulated by all the points that Aaron Rodgers is going to score for me in this preseason and game season of LOL.
Well, there you have it, folks. Now we know.
Now on to a very controversial team name from an individual who is bound to uphold the highest moral values as being an educator of this world's youth. Team Oil Me Up, to most, has a meaning stricken in deep depravity and vile thoughts. So it will be interesting to see how this purveyor of education and enlightenment answers the question of how much oil is really needed to oil me up. Luigi.
Well, hello, Miss Oily. Thank you very much for allowing us the opportunity to interview you here for LOL News. Our first question comes from league veteran Al Van Dam Dwayne. Dwayne asks, I hear that Oily's a fan of Kansas City. Will you be drafting anyone from the KY Chiefs? I mean the KC Chiefs?
Oh yeah, just like last year I got Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to try really hard to get him again this year. I mean really hard.
Oh, a local Independence fan asks, what do you prefer, AstroTurf or AstroGlide?
Well, I'm not really sure what those are, but I really like the oil Angelica. It really makes me feel like an angel.
Oh, okay. Another question comes from Carrie Raging Rajan Howerton. Miss Rajan asks, well, how much oil is really needed to oil me up?
Well, it kind of depends on what's wrong. If you have a bee sting, you might want to try an oil called Purification. And if you have a mosquito bite, lavender's the way to go. It really gets rid of the itch.
Oh, okay. And then finally, we'd all like to know why you chose the name you did, Team Oil Me Up, and what were the origins of the name, and what does it mean to you?
I'm so glad you asked that because like all doctors, even the ones that play doctors on TV, like that one guy, Preston Howerton, they really don't have any, like they can't help me. They've never been able to find out what's wrong or how to help me get better. And so I wanted to go along that homeopathic route and try something like non-medicinal, no medicines for me.
Well, there you have it, folks. She said homeopathy. Not really what I was thinking, but now we know. And finally, we discussed with our very own co-host his rationale behind the team name Team Grab 'em By The. Now, the first time I heard the term Grab 'em By The, to be honest, I was a little bit confused. I had to Google it to see what the origins of this very unique but deliberate phrase came from. And to say I have more questions than answers would be a grave understatement. Dr. Howerton, can you please explain to our audience here what compelled you to name your team Team Grab 'em By The?
Up next, we take a look back at all of the downs of the 2020 League of Losers fantasy football season and explore all the great things CBS has to say about our league players and how well they fared against the competition. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Nut Rub. Men, let's be honest, you stink, especially where it matters the most. You ever wonder why your significant other doesn't ever want to seem to spend that intimate time with you more than maybe 2 or 3 times a year? Well, it has little to do with your piss-poor attitude and your demeaning behavior against women, and more about them sweaty balls. So let's grab a razor, a wet rag, and apply the only thing that love sack will touch for the foreseeable future, Nut Rub. When she won't seem to rub it yourself. Now in multi-flavor pack.
An abysmal display of laziness is about the only way we can categorize the 2020 season of the League of Losers. When the 6th place 5 and 8 seed somehow was able to take the championship away from the absolutely dominant 11-2 first place seed, you know that the championship was either botched by extremely lazy play or it was stolen by a commissioner logging into the administrative tools and making changes to the way the opposing team's points were scored. Either way, It was a true testament of how bad this league is at playing this game, and we can only hope for better play in the future. But regardless, there can only be one winner, and that winner is me. So suck it. Chance.
True story, Dr. Howard, and very well played. The championship game not only showed the lack of planning and or ability for Mr. Tullis, aka Brown Dockers, to set a proper lineup in the most important game of the season, but also showed that someone who has pretty much lost all of his life continues to lose to this day without any signs of that losing changing anytime soon. Speaking of Mr. Tullis, I believe we do have an update on his whereabouts. Is that true, Dr. Howard?
Yes, Chance. It seems that Mr. Tullis' whereabouts has gotten a lot of interest from the local community. In this tweet here from the local Wichita Police Department, you can see that they have sent out a citywide alert explaining that the man known only as Tullis has been on the loose for the past 40 days. He is considered completely harmless unless provoked. If found, please pet and feed him and contact us immediately. This display of care and compassion by the Wichita Police Department is far more than Mr. Tullis deserves, as a simple return of a phone call or a text would have negated all of this fanfare. But this story is only getting more interest. It's getting interest nationally. Very high-level political figures are very interested in finding out where this saga will take us. You can see here, former president, aka the president, Donald Trump, has just tweeted in response to the disappearance of Mr. Tullis. He writes, "I don't know who the hell Kent Tullis is, and frankly, I don't care. However, we will not tolerate idiots in the White House or in the best damn fantasy football league ever. Hashtag League of Losers." Powerful words from a powerful figure. Chance.
Indeed, Dr. Howerton, but not as powerful as these comments coming from our CBS Sports affiliate explaining the lackluster play of this season's competitors. In this particular comment about our very own Al Sporting VD Van Dam Duane, they state Coach Al Van Dam Duane did a good job coaching this year, but unfortunately, it didn't matter. Sporting VD wound up with a pitiful 3-10 record, good for the worst record in the entire league. The unimpressive finish was partially due to their 8th-ranked running backs, but we all know is completely due to him being piss poor at drafting a good team, and even more about being a lazy-ass manager when it comes to his lineups. Dr. Howerton.
You nailed it, Chance. Let's take a look at some other comments. CBS Sports also stated that veteran player Ben "Rollin' with Mahomes" Johnson should have plenty of decisions to regret after their lineup choices left them as the worst game day coach of the league. I am not sure what is worse, being identified as the worst coach in the league or being beaten by someone who CBS considers to be the worst coach of the league. Maybe Al can help us answer that one. Something to ponder. Let's head on over to a little bit more positive with BP Sweaty Nuts. It seemed that BP mopped up on the bottom dwellers in the league during his regular season play, but ended with an abysmal 4-9 record, partially due to his 9th-ranked running back, but completely based upon his lack of understanding of the game, as his first-round draft pick was none other than Michael Thomas, leaving Austin Eckler and other premier running backs on the table for others to pick up. Sad. Chance.
Sad indeed. What was not sad was the active play calling and coaching of Brad Angry Pirate Stacer. CBS states that Coach Stacer can hang his hat on the fact that he was one of the best game day coaches in the league. However, following up with, he didn't, however, distribute those points very well, as he never gave his team a win with one of those decisions. Angry Pirates finished up his season tied for 4th place with a very sad 7-6 record. Coach Kerry Raging Rajan Howerton also played well this season, establishing a strong wide receiver core, which helped explain why she wrapped up the regular season tied for having the 2nd best record at 9-4, which is a polar opposite of her female counterpart, Laura Team Oil Me Up Bixby. Team Lather Me Sweetly was identified by CBS as literally the worst, stating that she stunk it up so badly that she'll have to shower off all off season to get rid of the stink. We here at LOL News would like to know, was it the season that stinks so bad, or was it all of that oil? Maybe a future segment, eh, Dr. Howerton?
Ooh, I can smell it already. Speaking of smelling it, let's take this time to support one of our newest sponsors, Ballsy. When your naughty bits are about to get hit, make sure they smell too legit to quit, and don't leave your lady saying, "Bro, your balls stink." Do all of us a favor and grab yourself a tube of Ballsy today. And while you're at it, grab the spray too, and even a nut rub. Ballsy also comes in a new Sack Pack, the ultimate trifecta of products specifically formulated to take care of your most prized possessions. Do your nuts a favor and pick up your sack pack today at your nearest convenience store. Okay, when it comes to leaning on one single player to get you through an entire season, Sean, my balls was hot Blair did not disappoint. Sean seemed unstoppable when Robbie Anderson played well, but was completely hopeless when he didn't. Coach Blair ended up with a pretty compelling 9-7 season-ending record, but ended his streak in the second round of the playoffs pretty pathetically to Brown Dockers. Chance.
You know, at the end of the day, regardless of the season records, there can only be one winner. And this year, that winner was none other than the best, most awesome team in the league, Dr. Howerton. CBS states that there can only be one, and this season, that one was Coach Howerton. Finishing with a horrendous 8-8 record, Coach Howerton finished off their postseason victory with a 176-142 win for the championship over Kent Brown Dockers Tullis. And as much fun as we all had this year, we wanted to reach out to our league players to see how they felt about the upcoming season and if they had any possible strategies in place to correct a lot of the crappy playing that happened this last year. For this, we'll hand it off to Luigi Nolan to get some reactions from this year's upcoming challengers. Luigi? Thanks, Chance. We start off our journey at the one and only Brad, Angry Pirate Stacer's house to see how he feels about this upcoming fantasy football season with the League of Losers. Follow me. Brad, Luigi Nolan here. CBS Sports says that you are actually the worst coach in the league.
Chance, what the f*** are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. I don't want to be part of your stupid fantasy football league.
Brad, this is Luigi Nolan.
Hey, listen here. Get off my property. I'm going to call the cops. I don't want to be part of your dumb league. It's clearly rigged. Howerton won the goddamn thing. I don't want any part of it. Get the out of here.
Brad, no.
Oh, not it. You can't keep doing this, Luigi.
Well, I don't think that went very well. So we've decided to move up to Sean My Balls Was Hot's Blair to see if we could get some insight into any new draft strategies that he may have to improve his performance this upcoming season. Follow me. Mr. Blair, Luigi, nice to meet you again. Hey, we just wanted to understand how you thought about your last year's season for fantasy football in the League of Losers.
Oh, I think a better question would be, how about your restraining order? You're supposed to be 1,000 feet away from here. You could be going to jail. Get out of here.
Oh.
Nope. Oh, Luigi, not again.
It does not seem that anyone wants to reveal any of their draft strategies and is really keeping quiet on what their strategic plans are for making sure they pick up the best team this year. One more stop for us, and that's this year's last place Jackass Award winner, Al Van Dam Duane, to get his take on his epic loss this season and what his plans might be to remedy his abysmal play from last year. Follow me. Luigi Nolan here. Just want to know what it feels like to be the worst player in the league of
Chance,
fantasy.
I don't want to be in your fantasy football league. I've already told you. Get your ass off my porch. God damn it, man.
Dude, what are you doing? Dude, you can't do that. You can't do.
Well, Chance and Dr. Howard, it doesn't look as though anyone's going to be open about any of the strategies for the upcoming draft and how they plan on managing their teams this upcoming season. I guess we'll just have to wait and see, sit back, and see what happens on draft day.
Speaking of draft day, this is a fantastic transition into what we have all been waiting for, which is our next segment, Picking the Damn Draft Order. To start, we wanted to give one of our players an advantage to increase his or her draft position. To do this, we ask each of our team members to submit a video, signifying what makes them the best person to receive such an honor. After meticulously scrutinizing every video submission, we are proud to say that the winner of this year's You Get to Pick Your Draft Position award goes to none other than Ben, rolling with my homies Johnson. In Ben's video submission, he mentions that as a middle-aged child, he was an extremely talented football player. So much that he was designated the Beast. In his video submission he said this was one of the most important videos of his young career. And the video was dubbed the hit heard round the world. And with that, let's check the tape.
Wearing number 1 for the Los Angeles Traffic today is 9-year-old Tommy Douglas. Tommy has lived most of his life in the hospital after being born with a potato for a heart and will undergo a heart transplant surgery next weekend. He's about as big of a Traffic fan as they come, so in partnership with the Grant-A-Wish Foundation, both teams have agreed to come together and have Tommy run the first play of the game. And he got the handoff, and there he goes. Made a little cutback move, and it looks like he's gonna go all the way. Look at him go. Wow. This is really one of those heartwarming moments in sports where you just... Oh! Oh, my God! That is not good.
You know, Chance and I have been struggling for the past year to come up with a fun and unique way to choose the draft order, as it seems everyone was pathetically pissed off about us randomly picking the order based on whatever fun games we decided to implement, which helped decide last year's draft order. 2 things to know about that. Number 1, we give 2 poops what you think about how we manage this league. This is our league, which happens to be the best damn league on earth. Your inclusion in this league is an absolute privilege and honor. And since we already have your money, you're at our mercy. Remember that. Having said that, number 2, this video is already too damn long, and to make it longer with some stupid draft order game would be repetitive and ridiculous. Right, Chance?
Right on point there, my friend. So to decide the draft order this year, we took the lazy way out, and a decision was made to use an auto-draft website that automatically takes our trashy names and spits out a seemingly random placement that we will use as our final draft order. So without further ado, let's roll the video and see how this poop show is about to go down. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, girls and squirrels, here we are. We're getting ready to do the draft order generation. For this draft order generation, we're going to use the fantasy football draft order generator. What we're going to do is we're going to enter the team names here. The team names are going to be based on last year's final standings from top to bottom. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. And what we're going to do is, after we put the names in, we'll go ahead and put our league name in, put in an email address, and on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. That's your draft order. Well, there you have it, my friends. This is the official draft order of the 2021 League of Losers Fantasy Football Championship Series. But before we close, we do want to make sure to address a couple of very important key points. Number 1, the draft this year will be at Dr. Howie's house on September 6th. September 6th is a Monday, not a Sunday, not a Saturday, and not a Friday. It's a Monday, so take note of that. Also, the draft will start at 6 p.m., which means be at the Howie's residence prior to 6 p.m. and be ready to draft at 6 p.m. Not 6:30, not 6:15, not even 6:05. The draft will start at 6 p.m. And that's Central Time, tell us, so no excuses.
That's right. Another reminder is to have your payment ready either on or before draft day. No prior payment will incur many penalties of which you will not like or appreciate.
Nope.
So it is best just to settle up with us now rather than take the relentless beatings you will be afforded otherwise.
Ben.
And as a reminder, this year's fee did not change from last year. It is still $100. So pony up, boys. And I say boys because, let's be honest, my co-host and I will be paying for the ladies. Am I right?
You are right. And finally, there will be a potluck snack fest of which you can bring whatever snackety snack side dishes you want to help feed your draft party desires. And with that, and on behalf of my co-host here, we'd like to say thank you. Thank each and every one of you for your money. Sincerely, we look very forward to taking each and every last one of you to the bank. And from all of us here at the LOL News Studios, and for those around the world that had the pleasure to make it this far into this stupid video, my co-host and I would like to say 2 words. Suck it. What did I tell you about coming off my fucking
Just
porch?
wanted to know.
Get the fuck off my porch. 3, 2, 1.
It's gonna come right off.
No, we don't. Read it like it's a script. Don't read it like it's a book. Okay?
You have got it.
3.